They signed up to explore the final frontier, but some never came back, and their names were never even spoken. This is the story of astronauts who may have died in space, whose missions were hidden, erased, or lost in classified files, buried by governments too afraid to reveal the truth. Missions that were never supposed to exist. For decades, space agencies have shown us controlled narratives, triumphant launches, safe landings, historic moonwalks. But behind the curtain, there are stories whispered in defense rooms and denied in public briefings. Stories of missing spacecraft, broken signals, and radio transmissions that should never have existed. In the early 1960s, during the height of the space race, Soviet brothers Achille and Giovanni Giudica Cordiglia, amateur radio operators in Italy, claimed to have intercepted chilling audio transmissions from space. Not from Sputnik, not from Yuri Gagarin, but from voices crying out, gasping for air, fading into static. They believed they had captured the dying words of cosmonauts whose missions were never recorded in Soviet history. Phantom astronauts, lost in Earth's orbit before the first official manned missions. The Soviets denied everything. Years later, declassified documents hinted at least 4 fatal incidents in early Soviet spaceflight. Missions scrubbed from history. No graves, no monuments, just silence. But this doesn't end with the Cold War. Some believe that secret missions continued into the modern era, funded not by public budgets, but by black operations, with objectives kept from even the highest levels of government. Missions not just to the Moon or Mars, but to locations that were never disclosed to the public. There are rumors of one such mission, launched in the early 2000s, by a joint team of American and private aerospace personnel. The destination, not the Moon, not Mars, but an unnamed object on the outer edge of our solar system. According to leaked communications, this object exhibited unusual electromagnetic patterns and an unnatural orbital path. The mission was never officially acknowledged. The crew? Unknown. What happened? No one knows, but insiders claim that no signal was ever received after the craft passed beyond Jupiter. There are also theories, wild but persistent, about missions to rogue planets, free-floating bodies that drift through the galaxy untethered to stars. Some of these are thought to harbor underground oceans, thick atmospheres, even the potential for alien life. Did we send probes to them, or people? Former defense analysts have claimed that some of the signals received from deep space weren't natural, that they were intelligently structured. Some believe astronauts were sent to follow them, and never returned. Others tell a different story altogether. That man never went to space at all. According to this conspiracy, the moon landings were faked. The ISS is an elaborate illusion. All missions are staged in massive underwater or desert studios built to mimic zero gravity. But then, how do we explain the thousands of satellites, the photos from rovers, the telescopic feeds from deep space? That's where the theory gets darker. Some say the faked missions are a distraction. That we have been going to space, but not where we're told. That hidden launch sites send classified missions to secret colonies. That elite astronauts train under contracts so classified, even their families don't know they're gone. And then there are the missing files. Cases of astronauts who vanished from the public eye. Engineers and pilots who worked for NASA, Roscosmos, or the ESA, and disappeared without explanation. Some were said to have suffered accidents. Others simply left the agencies and were never heard from again. In 1999, a NASA contractor reportedly vanished while working on a propulsion experiment in the Nevada desert. His ID badge was found in an empty car. His lab notes were seized by federal agents. The project? Classified. His name? Wiped from the database within days. Were they silenced or were they taken? There are even darker theories. Stories of astronauts who returned, but weren't the same. Reports of personality shifts, memory loss, night terrors. Some were quietly discharged, others institutionalized. According to fringe psychologists, the trauma wasn't physical, but cognitive. As if they saw something out there they were never meant to see. A structure, a signal, a life form. Of course, the official response is always the same. There's nothing out there but rock and radiation. But if that's true, why is so much of what we do in space still classified? Why are parts of Mars, such as the polar regions and underground caverns, never explored directly, even by rovers? Why do satellites lose signal near certain coordinates in lunar orbit? Why are astronauts trained to recognize and ignore anomalies? And what exactly happened to the missions we never hear about? Maybe these are just stories. Maybe they're myths woven from fear and imagination. Or maybe they're fragments of a truth too big, too dangerous to ever be confirmed. Because if astronauts have died in secret missions, if humans have visited other worlds and not returned, if there is something out there waiting, then silence isn't just secrecy, it's survival.